job well, Mr. King, if you did. First, let me say I'm delighted to be back. I understand I need to be back to protect my job after the job that Mr. Jones did running the council meeting. I want to personally thank him for doing that and covering for us so our family can get away for a little bit of time. And had a great time, but I'm glad to be back in the wonderful city of Perry, I can tell you that. But thank you, Mr. Jones. It's a privilege. Thank you. And I'll acknowledge that tomorrow so the TV audience will know too.
Excellent. My mother will be thrilled.
It's 5 o'clock. At this time, I'll call the work session for the Perry City Council for July the 19th, 2021 to order. We have a quorum. Please let the record show that Mr. Hunt, who will be absent this evening. Item 3 are items for review and discussion. Item 3A it will be from the Department of Community Development. 3A1 is connectivity working group request to apply for a trails grant. Ms. Gordon.
Thank you, Mayor. Here we go.
I have one request before we get started, and I'll admit that on vacation I did watch the proceedings on television, and one of the issues we have is with the audio. So if I could encourage everybody to talk into their mic so that we have good audio for the folks that are watching on the streaming, I would appreciate it. So thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so
John, you do not have a plug.
there we go. All right. Thank you guys for having me. The last time I came on behalf of the Connectivity Working Group, we were asking for concurrence to move forward in talking about 3 trails and sidewalk projects. So one of those projects that we discussed then was the Walika Trail extension, and that is the reason that I'm here today. So the Walika Trail extension was one of those projects that we had identified to begin our work with. We're currently receiving price estimates and potential designs for that trail. Due to the topography there and the wetlands, it's likely to be a combination trail to include some concrete and boardwalk. And so this project is also a candidate and relevant for a Georgia Department of Natural Resources Recreational Trails grant. So I'd like to share a little bit more about that grant program for you. The Recreational Trails Program, or RTP, it just seeks to improve outdoor recreational access in all local governments across Georgia. Those funds can be used for trail construction, signage, trailhead amenities, and design. And just for reference, you may recall that this program was actually used previously for some of the earlier phases of the Whitetail Trail and the Walika Trail. So for some of the specifics, the grant would fund up to $200,000, and it's a reimbursement style grant, so the local government would provide the funds up front and then be reimbursed as the project was being completed. And this grant does require 20% matching funds. Now we expect that this project would be a lot more than $200,000, so the 20% match would be very easy for the city to accomplish because it's such a large project, so it would be a lot higher than 20%. The application for the project opens in September and then closes in November. So tonight, the group is asking for concurrence to move forward in applying for this grant to help with the cost of the Willika Trail extension.
Thank you.
So happy to take any questions or discussion.
On the relief trail, is this going south or going north?
This would be the portion going south, sort of toward the fairgrounds.
Okay, now, how far are we gonna go? Have y'all decided, or we decided how far we're gonna go?
Right.
One time we were talking about going try to make it go over to the fairground, but I think we pulled back on that, so what are you looking at?
Yeah, so the conceptual design for this so far goes toward the fairgrounds, but not all the way. And then it will loop back and then pick up on Wall Street to connect the sidewalk back into downtown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions, council? Mr. Gilmore, you had some thoughts on this that you would like to share.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a good grant program. We've had some success with it in the past. We also ran into a difficulty last time we applied for this grant when we ran into problems getting the right of way, and we ran out of the grant time and we had to cancel out on the grant. Kind of following up on Mr. King's point, it would be my recommendation that we hold off and not apply for this year until we actually have a layout and a design on where the trail is actually going to go and how much it's going to cost. One of the prelim estimates we had came in at an estimated $3 million a mile. At $3 million a mile, we will not be building 5 feet of trail, I don't think. There are a good number of portions of the latest rendition of this trail that are city property, so that would not be an easement issue. But I think it's very important for us to have an actual design and plan to submit with the application to go to DNR and how much we're actually going to be funding for that phase. And I don't believe we're going to, well, in fact, I know we won't be able to have that by the November 1st deadline time. So my recommendation, definitely appreciate the work that Ms. Wharton and her group did, for this, but I think it'd be more advantageous for us to apply next year when we have that data.
Questions, council members, based on that recommendation from the city manager?
I'm in agreement with it. Also, I know we plan to get this trail continuing, but like going north over to the new park, Harris Park, we had talked about that too. It's the same extension, and so like we were saying, I think it's best that we get everything intact. Whoever the team that's working on it, and like we said, let us get the stuff together, and then we as the councilman, we can take a look at it. And like you said, we got to put the money forward before then they're gonna pay us back. That's a lot coming out of our pocket from the beginning. You know what I mean? So what we need to do, we need to have clarity and making sure that we have everything intact that we want to. And I don't know what, sometimes we have a public hearing for the people to come by. I don't know what we're going to do all that or not, but that's one of the things that we need to make sure that we have everything in place. Then when we go to get this money, so we won't have no backlash. Thank you.
Council members, do we have a concurrence to delay this until 2022?
Yes.
Thank you for your hard work. I know you guys are working on that very hard, and we'll work towards getting this done in 22.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Council. Item 3A2 is a monthly capital projects update from Mr. McMurray. Mr. McMurray, you got some information for us?
I left the clicker for you up there.
Did you bring pizza?
I did not, but thank you, Mayor, Council. You may have popcorn or whatever you need. I do have a long slide project update, 57 slides. I'm going to try to be as thorough and quickly as possible, but I will entertain any questions you may have, or I'll at least jot them down so I can get you an answer if I don't know the answer right off the top of my head. sewer mains. This is the old part of Perry. This is Evergreen, Duncan Avenue, Washington Street. There's some old sewer mains and terracotta lines. They have a lot of I&I. You may have seen some repairs there. There's one repair there at the corner of Collison and Duncan. Recently, the lines have some cracks on there. Again, I&I. I&I is inflow and infiltration. That's where stormwater or groundwater goes into the sewer system, and we deemed, ESG has deemed several years ago that it needs some repairs and updates. This is a project that we're continuing to monitor, and we've included it on the GFAP application. So, that, like I say, if you have any questions, just
Now, this one's on hold at the present time.
it is on hold until further direction from the council. Okay, our Tucker water facility is in need of a generator. Also, our well 3 is in need of a generator. We are working with ESG operations and Anderson generator. We will be preparing the bid specs. Well, they've already prepared the bid specs, but we'll be preparing the engineer schematics for review and approval of this project.
Mr. Gilmore, on this project, would this qualify for the American Relief Funds or Rescue Funds, or being a water project like that?
Certainly check to see.
I think it's probably one we ought to put on that list of ones that we're going to put before Mr. Blackman and Mr. Walker relative to asking this stuff.
Water plant number 2 over on Woodlawn Drive. It is currently, since 1971, it needs some electrical updates. The main disconnect panels, main breaker panels inside the control room are the original equipment. They're out of date. We can't get repair parts for them. So this is one project that ESG has also recommended moving forward. We do have some direction from the city to move forward with this here recently as an update to my slide. Continue to work on that project. I know you're all aware of Courtney Hodges Landscaping and Sam Nunn. This is a project that is currently on hold, but it has been some discussion many times over. Ansley, I know, has worked on some landscape designs. DOT originally kicked this project out because they needed some stormwater hydrological modeling to show stormwater flows, and they needed to have approval of the project for us to move forward with. That is, planting any trees, the size trees, or removal of any trees requires DOT's approval. LB 2020, of course, that particular project is complete. Kelwood Drive intersection was moved over to LB 2021. You will notice that we have a list of the 2021 there that was recommended from city staff due to last year's bidding. However, we had some good news for LB 2021 bid tabs, and we were able to include Duncan Parkway and Marshall Circle into the LB 2021 funding sources. So that's good news. We'll keep monitoring that and keep you updated as that project proceeds.
Thank you.
Langston Road Regional Pond. This section of, you may be aware, this is corner of Houston Lake Road and Langston Road. The regional pond is being designed by Georgia Water Environmental Services. It has been reviewed by Kimley Horn. Currently, we have received some recommendations from Kimley Horn to have this pond reevaluated for conservation of property acquisition in efforts to keep the cost of this pond down. There'll be some more topics on this and stream flow at tomorrow night's council meeting. AutoCAD and GIS. As you know, our GIS is a very important feature that the city of Perry has to monitor all our water, sewer, gas, streets, and now we've added in addition to sidewalk connectivity to this project. We work closely with ESG engineering to monitor this, and we also update our as-builts onto the GIS model. As Holly just presented, we have a walking trail in discussion, Big Indian Creek Walking Trail extension. This was the original plan for direction of walking trail. This since has been being reevaluated and has been tabled now. Crossroads Park at 3rd Street and Main Street. Saunders Engineering is working closely with the City of Perry to help design this. Ansley Fitzner's working on some landscape designs. I think we are pending water feature, and the last few details before bidding will be ready. Invitations will bid, I'm expecting in about 2 months, realistically, we'll be ready to go. Heritage Park and Legacy Park. These parks are pretty much complete. We are now holding events at both of them. Heritage Park is still pending in NOI. That's the notice of, in NOT, notice of intent from EPD. NOT is notice of termination. That's for our permanent erosion control. It's pending because there is some locations that 100% soil stabilization has not been reached. And so you'll see some silt fence around the back side of the park and around the parking area that is required to remain per EPD until stabilization is complete. You'll notice a note there for Legacy Park. We still have some warranty items, I guess, on the plantings there, which we're communicating with Gary Schultz. Creekwood Drive extension, that's to Courtney Hodges from Creekwood Drive. This is near the Suez Utilities building. We are looking to extend Creekwood Park Drive out to Courtney Hodges directly across from Best Street, and there is some right-of-way acquisition and some stormwater pond clarification needs to be done before moving forward. Houston County, Lake Joy widening. As you're aware, that's underway. We have relocated the natural gas main outside of on the edge of the right-of-way, so that street can be widened to 3 lanes. There has also been some talk from a local developer that owns the property across the street to extend Lake Joy straight and have it connect into Perry Parkway in front of Publix and the McDonald's area. Currently, we have advised them that we do not recommend moving forward with that without some proper right-of-way being the same as Lake Joy and further review from city staff and consulting engineers and council. There are options not to extend the street all the way through. There can be options to meet their needs for commercial and subdivision development without a full street extension. Houston County widening project has been awarded to Robinson Contractors. They were the low bid for the Houston County project. Houston County is managing the project for the city of Perry. Funds are covered by DOT. Stormwater pipes under Highway 127 have been, improved by DOT. The city has a portion of stormwater pipes that connect to this. We're working with UAM to get some costs, and this is also out to bid with other contractors to get bidding prices. GWES is our engineer consultant for the water line relocation. Caitlin Wood is our engineer for the gas line relocation, and Rick Saunders is supporting us with the sidewalk additions and improvements to this area. Our inner waste transfer station. This is the old inner landfill site. Currently is really at completion with Sam Hall and Sons, the contractor. Mr. Don Hall has been working out there to establish the foundation for the transfer site. There's a road being constructed, stormwater pond, and we'll be doing our final inspection on that project tomorrow. Pine Needle City Park. Rick Saunders, our consulting engineer. J.W. Shuttlesworth is responsible for the construction that is in progress. It is also nearing completion. They have about 45 days left on their contract, so we'll be seeing that one wrap up pretty soon, ready for opening. Asbestos water mains. If you're not familiar with asbestos or transite water mains, that is a material that was used in the 40s during a steel shortage. So asbestos has been causing some problems in the city of Perry. We have about 4 sections of town that have the older asbestos mains in, and they all really need to be replaced. It's not a super high priority, but we do have to do a lot of water main repairs in this area because of the older piping structure. Talking about asbestos mains, Georgia Avenue is one that we have determined needs repair, not only because of the main itself, but also to make sure we're getting fire flows out in that area of the community. TMT is the contractor, and the start date is ending now. Map scanning. We've completed our map scanning as far as engineering is concerned. I think there's still some scanning we may need to do in community development on the building side. However, we do need to, and we are continuing to work on a server to house our scanned maps and make them easy to access for any future needs from the public or our department to access these maps. Crosswalk restriping at Main Street in Drinking, and Carroll in Drinking. These two particular locations, traffic signals have been removed, and crosswalks, after review, are a little far back. You can't really get the good sight distance you need as you pull up to the stop sign. So we have a project going with Saunders Engineering where we will be laying out proper sight distance and relocating those stop bars and crosswalks out where we have good sight distance and safe for traffic to go through these intersections. We'll also be looking at a striping plan. Some parking may shift and move around with our review. Main Street and Carroll Street design. This project's currently just been submitted for review. Also done by Rick Saunders. We'll be adding a parking lot down where the old JC building used to be, and this is at our Legacy Park location. Main Street will be deleted between the park and Legacy Park, and the old water plant will be deleted, and it will turn into the through traffic there where JC's used to be onto Carroll. The parking lot will preserve the magnolia trees that are all in the park area, and we should have this ready to go to our bid immediately following the review process. Stormwater culverts. We have a few stormwater culverts in the city that are old metal pipes. They're rusting out at the bottom. Have some trouble. One is on Valley Drive, which you see pictured here, highlighted in yellow. There's a couple more on Kings Chapel Road. These are in need of repair, and we are currently collecting those bid items. Carroll Street alleyway. This project's currently on hold with the city, with the infill development associated off of Commerce Street and 904 Commerce. Currently, they are adding a water main to the alley, and also other utilities are being connected back there. The plan is to lower the alleyway about 18 inches at its higher point, and this will allow stormwater to drain from the alley out onto the right way of the street and not impede the businesses in the back of the alleyway. As I mentioned, 904 Commerce Street is currently under construction. It will take several months, and we're working closely with Colossal Construction on this project. Wayfinding signage, of course, we've been installing new signs all around the city. We're working with surveyors and submitting these on GPAS to get approved with DOT. Have to do another submission of plans, and we should finally get approval for this one. Tucker Road Storm Culvert. GWES is our consultant. Currently on Tucker Road, as you get close to Hill Road, there is a collapsing stormwater pipe under the road. It's not causing any problems for the public, but it is allowing stormwater to erode into this pipe from the shoulder of the road, and it's in need of replacement. LeClay Construction has been awarded the project, and tentative start date is very soon.
What's the issue with the Mason Bank?
Mr. Mason has some concerns with his pond downstream that we may be giving him more water than his pond can handle. So we are doing evaluation, make sure that our pipes are not endangering his pond.
Is that because the collapsed pipe's not allowing water to come through? Because the pipes have been there for years.
Yeah, he's just concerned that us changing the pipes will allow more water to pass than what originally was passed. And we're evaluating and looking at every option possible to make sure there's no damage done to any ponds upstream or backing up water upstream or any ponds downstream.
Thank you.
Thompson Road Water and Sewer Extension. GWES is also our consultant on this water and sewer extension. This particular line connects there at Perry Parkway and Thompson Road, and we're moving water and sewer up to the parcel where the RV park is going to be constructed along Perry Parkway, pretty much across from the Valero there. This project is done, physically done, closeout documents are being processed. Okay, the airport road and the farm subdivision often has some pressure problems out at the farm, as we're aware of, low pressure for water. So we are currently reviewing a site for a water booster pump. As you see here, this is the Sam Milton picture. This is kind of the area we're looking somewhere in this area to install a booster pump that will provide adequate water and fire protection to the farm and the airport. This is also on our chief list of applications. We can get some funding if we need. Water sewer, not sewer. Water extensions on county supplied subdivisions. We're looking on Gurr Road to start with, and we have met with the county on some of this. As you see highlighted in the picture here, this would be connecting, here I'm going to use the pointer a little bit. Right here is where our water line stops currently. This is supplied by our city water plant, and the yellow line would be connecting into county supplied, water supplied subdivisions. All the way through. If we are able to do that, these subdivisions could come online as being supplied by our water facility and not the county's water facility, freeing up water out in the county for future growth and getting the most capacity out of our water plant. Stormwater utility fees. This is a project that, or a task that my department works on pretty regularly. Sarah Nottingham has become responsible for these stormwater fees, and I'm working closely with her to calculate and make sure that our calculations are correct for all the commercial businesses and residents in the city of Perry. Just a reminder, one ERU equals 3,300 square feet. Currently, one ERU is $5. That's impervious surfaces. Perry Parkway Pump Station and Sewer Study. Georgia Water Environmental Services has been given this project for evaluation. Perry Parkway, as you see indicated with the circle red here, is located right behind the detention center here in Perry. And it services all of East Perry, Northeast Perry. Our Bear Branch, our Wind River, Langston Road, and along the Perry Parkway, the east side of Perry Parkway, all flows to this pump station. So it really is our hub, main pump station in the city of Perry. With the amount of growth we're having on the northeast side, we've got to do some upgrades to this, to upgrade the pump size, motor size, and evaluate, make sure we're getting proper use out of our pump station. Talking about northeast, Town Road, large subdivision coming in, already approved, and we have a temporary sewer pump station that will go here. In the bottom, as you see highlighted in blue, or called out in blue, pump station location. This is on Bear Branch Road, and it will pump to Wind River Pump Station temporarily until we get our new wastewater plant online and the new trunk main installed for Mossy Creek Branch. CBDG project for 2021 is down on Stanley Street, Beard Street, Dean View. All of these are some of the same streets that would be repaved during our OME 2021 project. This is currently underway. They are now excavating out and installing pipes for the stormwater pond associated here between Westwood Trail Park and Dean View Drive. Hilton Garden Inn location on Hampton Court. Hampton Court, we have extended water and sewer to the property lines here to provide that service for Hilton Garden Inn, and moving forward with it. This project is completed too now, as of today. We just got to complete the closeout documents for it. Langston Road extension. The city's working with the county and also with Rick Saunders on this particular portion of Langston Road. This is from Houston Lake Road and Commodore Drive. Will be extended all the way to 341, crossing Saddle Creek and Kings Chapel. Doing so. So there's a lot to think about here as we plan for utility services here and how we'll service this area too. Intersection of Park and North Davis. Currently this project's on hold. We were looking to realign this to make it a safer stop sign and intersection for the community there. So we'll be on hold until further direction. Northside Drive flood elevation. We did receive some flooding on Northside Drive this past year during rain events. And we're fortunate so far this year we haven't got any large rain events causing any problems. The pond did have to be, the overflow for the pond level had to be reevaluated by the homeowner, the private owner there. I have not revisited the site since the last time. No changes had been made. Bethel Circle. This particular portion of sewer line, as you see here highlighted in yellow, we're going to straighten the sewer line as it used to kind of do a horseshoe up into the Jim Kyle's property. Now we're going to straighten it out so that sewer stays in the right of way and off of the private property areas. ESG has been awarded this project and will be contacting the homeowners when they're ready for construction. GDOT's Courtney Hodges Bridge, or the Hendricks Bridge down on Courtney Hodges Boulevard, is scheduled in 2023 to be improved, pretty much completely demoed and reconstructed. It will be a little wider and a little higher in elevation. We'll have areas for pedestrian traffic and handle the traffic for the city. During review, I understand that GDOT found that the bridge condition was not in bad shape, but in need of scheduling for repair or replacement. Intersection of Macon Road and Sunset. Of course, this is one project that we're moving forward with. Currently, right now, the plans are with GDOT. We are waiting on their response for comments. And once we get any comments, we'll have to revise and resubmit for approval. If we get an approval to move forward, we will be bidding this project. Reams Construction, Reams Concrete site has decided to go into the asphalt business, so we will be supplying them with natural gas. This is good for the city of Perry, as they will be having a large demand for natural gas supply, and we in the city will be making sure that we can supply them that with the proper regulators and meters. We also need to keep in mind for future growth that this does use up a large portion of the city's capacity of natural gas, supply of natural gas for future demands. So we do need to be aware and looking for gas in the future. Yes, sir.
Where is this located?
This is Industrial Park. If you're familiar down here at the bottom, let's see if I can get the pointer. Here we go.
Okay.
All right, this is graphics packaging here at the bottom of your slide. This is ADS. Reams Concrete is situated right here. The asphalt plant portion will be in this blue highlighted area. Streetlight installation. I'm glad to tell you this has been completed over at Woodland and Pine Ridge. It was a long time coming, trying to get a streetlight installed in this location. Glad to see it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. State Avenue extension. We reviewed this particularly because of the complaint from the homeowner. In this area highlighted here, they were having some stormwater problems running off from the road. I was asked to review this with surveyors. We went out and surveyed this particular right-of-way I have hashed in red, and we determined that it is not an existing right-of-way. Public has that highlighted in error. This is actually property owner of Milton's property. So technically, the road there to State Street Extension, or State Avenue Extension, is private, and it's a private drive. Unfortunately, being private, the city can't make any improvements in that area this time. Chinaberry, Ivy Glen, Regional Sewer, and Stormwater. Out in this area, we have a lot of potential for development. You'll see the red circle areas. Those are our current existing pump stations. The one to the right is Ivy Glen's pump station. The one to the left is Chinaberry's pump station. The parcel highlighted in blue has been a topic of discussion for future subdivision. So we have been tasked with looking at making a regional stormwater pond in that area to supply the full area with stormwater, and also consolidating these pump stations, because we're looking for the future and not have many pump stations all on top of each other. We'd like to consolidate them and have one centralized pump station, as ultimately we want to install a gravity feed to our new wastewater plant out on the AE Harris Track. Speaking of the AE Harris Track, this is the site that we have confirmed with the county and with our consulting engineer that is the best location for our new wastewater treatment facility. And highlighted in red is the parcel that we're discussing. This is, of course, the confluence of Mossy Creek and Big Indian Creek, meaning that we could provide sewer to pretty much anywhere in those basins of those streams, provided we can get enough gravity sewer mains installed. Future planning is productive for the city of Perry. House to Lake Drive sidewalk. This project's been approved. In fact, the invitations to bid should be going out this week. I know Mitchell's not here, but they should be advertised this week, and construction should begin as timely as possible. All the right-of-way's been acquired, and the project's ready to go. This will connect, so you're aware, this will connect there near Sunshine from just up from 3rd Street over to Swift Street, right in that area on House to Lake Road. Hampton Road sidewalk is also another project. We are working with property acquisition. Our attorney, Ms. Brooke Newby, is working through those details. Once we have the right-of-way to complete the construction and the streetlights, electrical plans have been submitted and reviewed for the streetlights, we'll be able to bid this project. Okay, Jernigan Street extension. I've been tasked with looking at extending Jernigan Street to, I believe it is Newman Street, there in front of, what is it, the exercise. Destiny Fitness, yes, Destiny Fitness, there's that parking lot area. So this is the former City Hall building, which I believe has been public outreach. And this project is a building that would be demoed as the road would extend through that particular facility. Our city has a few parking lots that we're looking at installing in some of these parks. One is Hathaway's Park, and Hathaway Park there at Sunshine. And we're looking at adding a number of spaces there, handicap space, and a pretty simple drive through to get to the park. Community development is also going to be improving their parking lot. They already have a good sized parking lot, but it seems to be our staff has just grown to a point where we need a little additional parking, so we'll be making some improvements to that parking lot at community development. Sewer I&I. Again, I&I is inflow and infiltration from stormwater. The Perry Parkway drainage basin is a huge concern to the city of Perry because, again, that is our hub pump station, and it is an older section, some of the older sections of sewer pipe, and we are receiving a lot of extended run times in our pump station. So we have highlighted these areas you see in red here, which is near Perry Parkway and near the Bear Branch location for I&I study that will be moving forward very quickly by the ESG staff and ESG engineering. St. Patrick's Drive extension. This is behind Walmart and Tractor Supply area. The right-of-way has been acquired by the county. The reason I bring this to your attention, again, this is a county project, is because the city needs to be aware of utilities that will need to go in along with the street. Once the street construction is moving forward and approved, we need to be aware of the water and sewer, at minimum casings, sleeves where needed need to be placed for future growth. Marshall Circle, this is one that comes up on our, I just mentioned earlier, was approved with our LB 2021. There is some, as you see highlighted in yellow here, water holes right here. Maybe some potential for water leak. We'll discuss that if any repairs need to be made. The cul-de-sac or eyebrow will be repaved on both sections of Marshall Circle and making improvements. Sidewalk connectivity projects. Of course, we have new sidewalk connectivities in place. Main Street, down at the Eastgate Shopping Center to House Lake Drive. Sam Nunn, starting at Valley Drive and ending at Heritage Oaks Park. Perry Parkway, for the public's purposes at Hampton apartment complex. So those sidewalks are much needed to the pedestrians. Projects of interest. Several to think about. Sam Nunn property, out of Saddle Creek. Huge parcels out there that may come in for subdivisions as a new wastewater plant comes online. I think we've wrapped up the parking lot at Jeff Smith finally this move forward. Hill Road, which I mentioned, that's the China Berry, Ivy Glen area. Particular properties out there that may come in with subdivisions. Langston Place, there's a discussion of Wingate moving forward with the property next to Langston Place, that's Rippling Waterway, for subdivision in that area. This particular site is going to spawn a review of Lindley's pump station and the force main and gravity main below Lindley's to make sure that it has proper capacity for any subdivisions out in that area. And again, the commercial development there at the Perry Parkway.
And Mr. Ayers already started with his decel lane. I noticed that they were doing work out there. So.
Yes, I was not notified. I also noticed the same thing you did as I passed by Perry Parkway. Saw the construction. I'm sure that's the decel lane for this commercial development area there at Perry Parkway. And that is also the same entrance I was referring to that could extend on to Lake Joy. But we have not approved anything to extend to Lake Joy this time. Projects in review. I mentioned the RV park. It's approved with comments. We got a Jersey Mike's and a Dunkin' Donuts coming over on Sam Nunn. Graphics Packaging has an expansion. Interfort has an expansion. And Legacy Park Drive subdivisions in review. We have made it to the end of our slides. Do you have any further questions?
I didn't want to stop you along the way because the questions were so minor. But the very first one that you mentioned, the old Perry, the sewer mains on Old Perry, the outfall of Ball and Jernigan.
Sure.
You talked about how they needed to be replaced, but that was just on hold waiting for the council to take something. So are you asking for the opportunity to move forward on that?
Well, no, I'm not really asking for the opportunity. I just would like to make you aware that that project is still on the table. As far as priority list, I know the manager has a recommendation for priorities, and we're going through that priority list. But this is one area that will continue to see failures and point repairs. Point repairs is where we will go out and we will repair one specific location where we've seen the road settle, maybe potholes show up, something like that in the meantime. So I don't want you or the public not to be aware that we realize from the engineering that the terracotta lines under the ground, they don't last forever and they will cause some problems. It is a pretty expensive project to replace everything or reline everything, but it is something that is on the list. Where are the priorities is totally up to the city and the manager.
One of the things we talked about on Friday was with the funding coming through the American Rescue state's got $3.5 billion to distribute. And I've talked to both Senator Walker and to Representative Blackman relative to Perry getting their fair share of that. And so we're going to put together a priority list of all of our water projects and all of our sewer projects and see which ones of those we can submit to see if we can get a funding through that source as well. So it may move some of these projects forward quicker. And so that's one of the things that we are doing right now.
I don't suppose sidewalks and sewer lines come out of the same funding pot, do they?
I don't believe so. That may be a question for Mr. Gilmore.
Just was thinking about sidewalk all the way out to Perry-ga.gov Park, when we got pipes that need to be replaced. That just seemed to be concerning to me. I don't know how heavily trafficked that sidewalk all the way out there, Heritage Park would be.
The sidewalk projects come from SPLOST. Water and sewer may be SPLOST, they may be revenue bond, they may be grant money. We try to take advantage of any type of outside funding before we go in and use any of our SPLOST.
On the water booster pump on Airport Road, were you looking for property on the right or the left of Airport Road?
Currently, the water main is on the right if you're traveling north of the street, so that would be the east side. The water booster pump station would need to be on that side if at all possible. Of course, any location, if we cannot, we may just have to make it work.
Would
But
that be up near the Parkway end or the far end of Airport Road?
there is, I say it's vacant, it's not really vacant. There's an agriculture field directly across from Sandler, and that was the preferred location. So and I believe Mr. Thomas Mason owns that piece of property. So we may be reaching out to him in the near future once we determine that's the best location.
I didn't know if the airport runway extension might have been, I don't know how far that would come up or anything, but
No,
they're going to extend it.
It won't affect this particular location.
This is probably a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile to the south of the runway extension.
And on the Townsend Road, Mossy Creek, the two spots that you pointed out on Bear Branch, did I understand you say those are temporary?
The pump station is going to be temporary. So if you would say in the future, when we start this construction, you will drive down Bear Branch and you will see a pump station sitting off to your left. We expect that pump station to be there 3 to 5 years. Target is 3 years because we hope to have our wastewater plant online, and then that pump station will be removed and everything will flow gravity down to our wastewater plant.
I was just curious about the advantage of extending Jernigan all the way to the Destiny Fitness parking lot. What will be gained by that, I guess is what I was wondering.
Mr. Gilmore?
We're delighted to. The intent of that is to provide a continuation of the downtown district. You may remember that Andrew Heights has been added into the downtown, and so that would provide a better connection, for that. We are anticipating that already with the land use zoning that we have there, plus the downtown district, that area will start. We'll still have some residential, but we'll also start to shift over to commercial residential or just some type of commercial.
Can you click on Destiny Fitness?
Oh, sure. See if I can get my pointer down here. Okay, this is Destiny right here. And this is their parking lot in front. And this is, I believe it's Newman.
Place.
Yeah, it's correct. This will connect all the way through. I'm sorry, my light doesn't show up on the TV screen, only shows up on the router's Destiny.
When community development extends their parking lot, are they going to pave it?
The parking lot, the plan is not to extend it, it's just to expand the current footprint so the vehicles are not parking on the soil. We want the vehicles to park on pavement, and it will Currently, it has some pavement, mostly pavement, some rock, and then some of the vehicles are encroaching onto the soil. So we're going to make sure we get a good hard edge so the vehicles all stay on pavement.
That's all I have, thank you.
Further questions?
Chad, I just want to thank you and Nancy both for meeting me in Marshall Circle today and investigating that and getting it that much higher up on the LD list. And it's a worthy project, and I just want to say I appreciate it. Thank you.
This may not be solely a question for you, but have we had any issues with, since we removed the 2 traffic lights from Main Street and downtown area? I haven't heard any.
I'm not aware of any issues, but I am aware of a couple of complaints saying that there may be some trees or shrubs in the way of your sight view when you pull up to stop, mainly coming from Jernigan North on the approach to the intersection at Main. So if you pull up there, you may know there's a big tree on the right, which is a live oak tree, and on the left, there's some crepe myrtles. So there is a little difficult to see unless you pull out a little further. So our crosswalk restriping and moving that stop bar should solve all those problems where you move up far enough that you can see around the tree and not have any concerns for pulling out the traffic.
Council members, other questions? Mr. McMurray, thank you. That's, it was very insightful in all of the stuff that we're working on. You're kind of like Chief Parker. When you come, you bring a big checkbook. So it looks like we got a lot going on. So, but thank you for all the hard work you guys are doing. We are staying well ahead of our growth, and we need to do that.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me a second. Going back to the sidewalk connectivity projects, I'd like to recommend to council that for the Sam Nunn Boulevard sidewalk, we extend that over to Airport Road Extension for Houston Springs.
Agreed.
You may remember we had originally talked about, they're very, very active about wanting to come in. We've had a number of comments about that. We originally thought we were going to be able to make a connection further up on Airport Extension Road, going through that property that fell apart. So I recommend to council that you authorize adding that portion onto the project as well.
I would be supportive of that because they've asked for that a couple of times. It's logical if we put the sidewalk out there to support the park, and we should continue it all. Thank you. Would you please add that to your project?
Consider it done.
Anything else, Mr. Gilmore, on those?
No, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Murray.
Thank you.
Item 3B is the Office of the City Manager. 3B1 is FY 2021 Communications Office Statistics. Ms. Clark.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The City of Perry's Communication Office provides direct high-level communication and community engagement functions with City of Perry officials and staff and in support of the mission and vision of Mayor and Council. Currently, the city utilizes over a dozen communication channels, both digital and non-digital, to inform citizens, businesses, and interested parties about the happenings in Perry. So tonight, I'd like to present the efforts of the Communications Office within the past fiscal year. In your board pack, you will also see a summary of these efforts as well, and we'll just touch on a few. I am pleased to inform you that our social media channels across the board, to include City of Perry Government, Perry Police Department, Perry Fire and Emergency Services, and Shop Downtown Perry, increased its following by at least 5% this past year. Each page also enjoys a large engagement with our target audience, which ultimately engagement is the goal, especially within our social media realms. Our Instagram as well, we have been focusing on increasing our Instagram engagement and following. A lot of our target audience, such as younger families, younger adults, utilize Instagram more than the other platforms. So we've been trying to beef up that as well. Our Shop Downtown Perry has increased significantly as well, as far as followings as well in the past year. Our other platforms that are not as well known is our Nextdoor. We started our presence on the Nextdoor app, which is kind of like if you think about specific target neighborhoods, it gets your address and then it shows activity and posts from neighbors and also surrounding neighborhoods as well. They share everything from lost stock posts to can you recommend a great carpenter or painter, things like that. So probably Nextdoor is one of our, besides Facebook, our top engagement channels that we have. Normally whenever we post on there, we get a ton of engagement on there, whether it be comments, whether it be likes, questions, things like that. Right now we have over 2,800 members, and according to our Nextdoor analytics, that accounts for about 22% of Perry households. So it is a rather large significant part of our community engagement. Also, we are also beefing up our LinkedIn followers. 305 doesn't seem like a lot, but we've gained over 100 within the past fiscal year. So we are using, Human Resources, is utilizing LinkedIn for our career postings. We share a lot of news as well. So we're very excited about utilizing LinkedIn more. And of course, our Your Perry app, where people can gain information through their iPhone or their Android, as well as request certain work orders as well. Right now, between iPhone and Android, we have over 900 downloads, so we're going to continue to push that as well. Our City of Perry website, which of course, as you know, we launched earlier this year, our brand new website. So far, just from the new website, we have over 177,000 page views. That's very significant. In the communication world, what we like to do is social media is great, but we want to make sure that our website is the go-to all for information. So we try to keep it as updated as possible, user-friendly. So I believe that we've achieved that goal so far with over 177,000 views. So I'm very proud of that. Our monthly newsletter subscribers has also substantially increased. Right now we have a little over 900. This does not account for the contact cell we have that Special Events uses, as well as Downtown also uses and has their own. So as far as general interest, we have over 900 and continue to push for those subscribers as well. The statistics I'm most proud of, though, are the media coverage the city received in the last fiscal year. Over 200 articles reference Perry in a positive or informative way within the local media market. The truly great work of mayor and council and the staff is being recognized for making Perry a premier community, all within the local media market. And I'm very happy that the city of Perry is getting great coverage with our media partners as well. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Council members, questions relative to our communications plan?
I don't have a question, but I'd like to make a statement. I didn't realize how far this. I didn't realize how far our webpage reached other states. I get called, doing the Black History Banner program, I got calls from California, Chicago, and places like that. So I wanted to let you know that you are doing a fantastic job for the city of Perry.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Thank you for the job that you're doing. We all depend on you, and we really appreciate what you're getting us out in the public in a very positive manner. You didn't say much about it, but it does my heart good to see, looking at this, that there's a 0 on negative articles written about the city of Perry. So that's quite a statement.
Well, y'all make it very easy, so I do appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 3B2 is solid waste collections. Mr. Gilmore?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, in your packet is a memo from me indicating where we are and where we need to go relative to solid waste pickup. Solid waste pickup is our toter service, which is the residential pickup, and our container service, which is the dumpsters for the commercial and industrial. Our original issue, as you can see in my memo, was we were having difficulty getting toters to keep up with our growth. So we contacted Waste Management, who has bought out Advanced Disposal and is our current provider, relative to options or suggestions on where to get toters. We would place the orders and there'd be delays and problems, and we weren't able to keep up. Waste Management responded back with a plan in which they would provide the toters and they would also pay the city $280,000 for those toters. Needless to say, Ms. Fitchner and myself were ecstatic until we saw paragraph 2 and paragraph 3, which is the bottom portion in which Waste Management advised that it will need to increase the monthly charges, to the city. Due to the operating losses, their operating losses are approximately, we have been advised, around $19,000 a month. They need to increase their rates to cover that loss. They also need to increase their rates to cover labor shortages and filling of positions. I think you all are familiar with that issue everywhere. They also have to do some replacement for their equipment. And while we're adding a number of new customers each month, that number of new customers cannot cover the cost of the additional equipment to service the city. So as you can see in Exhibit A, I've provided to you what the cost change would be. You see the first one for toters. The current rate we pay is $9.13 a month. The revised rate would be $13.89 a month. Actually, the 9.13 should be 10.13 because we have a separate billing for recycling, and the recycling will be included in the $13.89. Containers go from $3 a cubic yard to $4.11 a cubic yard. Waste Management understands the potential difficulties with this. They have agreed to work with the city about postponing an implementation date. They also totally understand if the city determines it be in its advantage to go to bid for the services. I'm advising you all that going to bid would be a complete waste. We have done that before. Some of you all may remember on that. There are no other vendors of a size that can handle the city's load. We found that out ourselves when we went out to bid. The House and County Board of Commissioners found that out when they went out to bid. It's basically Waste Management's market. As you can see on my second page there, now that I've given you all the sad trauma news, you also have, Waste Management also provided some information of comparative prices for Warner Robins in Centerville. Please note their charges compared to ours and what we're proposing about doing. And like I say, Waste Management would like to address this issue relatively quick. The administration recommends the council to do the following 3 steps. The first one would be accepting of Waste Management's offer to take over the total provision and pay the city the $280,000 for its existing stock. The second recommendation would be for the city to amend its contract with Waste Management to adjust for the new rates, annual adjustment factor. That's basically the cost of living. You may remember we already have that in our contract. And length of the contract is allowed by state law. And then number 3, that the city uses its total purchase money to cover additional costs to the contractor until those additional costs can be phased in. What this means is that we'll be able to make this adjustment and absorb that cost increase without having to increase the fees to our customers. One is because of the total purchase, and the second is the historic process that we have done about increasing our rates every single year. You may remember that we had a certain percentage every single year. That has come back to benefit us very well in the solid waste fund. There are a couple of issues I want to make sure we have clear relative to the agreement. One of the first one, a major one, will be the delivery of the toters in a timely manner. We don't want to have a situation where our customers request a toter and then have to wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks for a toter. There may be a few others. The administration's recommendation, if council concurs, would be for us to pursue and come back with you what the recommended contract would be.
Council members, questions on this proposed contract with Waste Management?
Lee, on item 3, I want to make sure I understand correctly. The city uses its toter purchase money to cover the additional cost and contract collection cost until it can phase in the additional cost. So $280,000 would offset the need to increase any charges to our customers permanently, or just in addition to what we do annually already, the slight increase, or eventually are there going to be additional costs phased into our customers because of this?
That's a very good question. As it stands right now, it will cover the first round of the increases. We will be making recommendations relative to our standard basic cost of living increase for the charges. You may remember we do that every January when we have the contract. And I'm anticipating also with our continual growth that there should not be any more of a significant impact relative to our customers.
Thank you.
Now, I cannot guarantee that 5 years down, 10 years down, depending on the circumstances, may have to have another change. But at least as it stands right now, we'll be able to absorb the initial hit without impacting our customers at all. And over time, there'll be gradual increases, similar to what we historically have done.
Thank you.
Council members, other questions at this point in time? As I understand it, Mr. Gilmore is asking our concurrence to allow him to move forward and finalize the contract that he would bring back to us for review. Is that correct, Mr. Gilmore?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have concurrence, Mr. Gilmore? If you would move forward with that and bring it back, we would be most appreciative.
Thank you.
Item 3B3 is consider proposal to replace table furnishings at Pocket Parks. Mr. Gilmore?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, Council, in your packet is a memo from me recommending that we start to phase in and replace the metal furnishings that we have in some of our pocket parks with the concrete ADA accessible tables. You may remember that's what we purchased for Andrew Heights Park. The metal furnishings we have there have held up well, considering the length of time that they've been in, but they're starting to show their age. They also get moved around a lot, which causes some problems with them. And on occasion, they are used for springboards or whatever the case may be, so they have some dents and banged up processes. So with your concurrence, what we would do is begin a process of replacing those metal benches, the worst ones first, in our pocket parks until they're all replaced with the concrete.
Questions? Mr. King? Everybody okay with that? It is a problem if you go to a number of our parks where they've been used as springboards, the tables are completely warped or those seats have been bent down and things like that. So I think this will prevent that in the future. These will last much longer and be more serviceable to our citizens.
If I may, Mayor, so one other point I want to make, this is not an issue in some particular one neighborhood or two neighborhoods in the city. I want to emphasize that. This is an issue citywide with all of our parks.
No question. Thank you for that clarification. So everyone is okay with that? Please move forward, Mr. Gilmore. Thank you very much for the recommendation. Item 3B4 is consider approving signage at Perry Industrial Park. Mr. Gilmore?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a project based on a follow-up from some research that Mr. Smith has done. The issue originally came to the city's attention, at least far as I know, originally came to the city's attention when the mayor and Ms. Harden were making one of their visits to our industrial customers, and one of the customers, or not customers, I'm sorry, our residents, corporate residents, made a comment about the situation that the sign needed replaced for the identification sign for the Perry Industrial Park. Mr. Smith reviewed that. That is correct. It does need to be replaced. In your packet is a recommendation and the proposed design. As you can see with the design, it follows our standard monument type of sign. Everybody see where I am on the picture? The only difference you'll have on there is number one, we won't have any address right underneath Perry Industrial Park. Everybody see where I am? Because all the clients in there will have different street addresses. However, they will be able to have their information on the blank identification slabs. Everybody see where I am there? So when you come by, you'll be able to see who is the current tenants or operators in our park. We are also recommending that there will be 2 of these signs. The first one, where I believe there is no sign right now, would be located at the intersection of Valley Drive and Perry Parkway, which, as a reference, is right by Graphic Packaging's facility. That has become the main route for businesses coming into the park, so we think it'd be important to have a sign there. But we also would go in and replace the existing sign at Industrial Park Drive, or Industrial Drive, and Valley Drive, which is the other entrance coming into the park. If you concur, or we'd like you to concur so we can proceed, we'll be following along our standard contract we have with our branding signage.
It's my understanding that the one at the Valley and the Perry Parkway will only be one-sided. Is that correct?
As it stands right now, yes, we're anticipating it'll sit like at an angle.
It'll face out?
Yes, so you'll see it, particularly coming from Perry Parkway, but the other side of the blank as it'll be facing Graphic Packaging. They know where they are, I hope.
And then the other one will be replacing what I call the old funeral home sign. There is basically falling down, and it being brought to our attention by one of our residents in the park is embarrassing, to say the least. But I think this new sign will be add a real nice touch to that park out there. We have a number of very large clients out there, and so I think that we should be proud of the park, and I think this will reflect that. Concurrence to move forward. It's in our normal program of replacing signs. Please move forward, Mr. Gilmore. Thank you, council, for approving that. I think that'll have a real nice touch out there in the park. Item 3C is the Office of City Attorney. 3C1 is discuss establishing a no smoking policy for the City of Perry buildings, facilities, and our vehicles. Ms. Newton?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, currently our personnel policies do not contain a no smoking policy. The Georgia Smoke-Free Air Act actually prohibits smoking within all public buildings, such as our municipal buildings. But from an employee perspective, we don't have any type of policy or guidance relative to smoking within city vehicles. And so we just wanted to bring that to your attention and see if you had any interest in establishing a no smoking policy within the city of Perry vehicles, buildings, and facilities for its employees.
Council members, thoughts about a no smoking policy?
Yes,
Yes.
I think that I'm not a smoker, so I think we need to be able to observe and let the people know that we're working for the city, that they can, maybe as they drive, it might not be a good thing to smoke in the vehicle, but then the only problem with that, if they get an urge, you probably won't pull over somewhere and get them a smoke, you know what I mean? So that's something that we're going to have to consider.
something that you guys would like to think about as far as the policy goes?
Would it have to be the same for buildings and vehicles? I mean, if you say no smoking in the building, would it have to also mean no smoking in a vehicle?
I think that it's at mayor and council's discretion relative to the vehicles. That's really what the question is about. To Mr. King's point, we can establish a designated smoking area. I believe there are certain areas that are currently utilized, although I'm not sure that they've been designated that by official policy. But I think relative to the vehicles, it would be at your discretion.
Any other thoughts from council members? I'll ask the question again. Do you guys want to think about it until we come back again? I know this is the very first time that you've heard it, and so we do try to give you time to think about these issues, and so.
I want to think about it. I am a past smoker. I have not smoked probably 30 years, but when I did, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And, I mean, if you don't smoke in the truck, but if you stand out beside the truck, you still don't smell it in the truck. So I just like to think about it more.
So what about someone that may be a non-smoker that's in the truck with a smoker?
I think that was my concern, is that if you got two people working together, one smoker and the other don't smoke, that might create a situation there, you know what I mean? And later on, we're gonna have to deal with it. Because personally, I can't stand no smoke. I'm just being frank. I ain't got no problem with nobody smoking, but free don't smoke around me. I get away from you, you know what I mean? So that's the whole point, you know, I said. And that's the issue we have to be considerate of other people sometimes. You know, I think that, no matter what the final rate say, I think that's the issue. Like I said earlier, somebody driving a truck and all of a sudden they want to smoke, or they gonna wait till lunchtime, or they gonna wait till break time, or whatever, then I think that's a stipulation that we may have to make a point about it. So you can only smoke when you take a break, or you can only smoke when you go on lunch, you know what I mean? So that's one of the things that Robin and folks are supposed to do, but it doesn't work that way, you know what I mean? So people who want to smoke, they just go out to a smoking place and they smoke, you know what I mean? So that's the thing, but if they're driving a car, a truck, you know what I mean? That's the issue. And going back to what the final rate said, I guess we need to table it until we get some more thoughts. Because I just don't want everybody to take my opinion, what I'm saying, but we know, we think it's all the council members here, that everybody can say something, you know what I mean, to avoid about that, you know what I mean, so.
Dr. Albrecht, you have some comments?
What's prompting this? Look at, has something happened or a complaint from the passenger who doesn't smoke, that's riding with the driver that does smoke?
I believe we received one complaint of observing cigarette butts being thrown out the window of the city of Perry vehicle, which I believe administration addressed that. But I think that's what prompted the larger discussion of whether or not there's any interest to establish this policy.
Yeah, if I may, the other thing we're interested in is having a consistent policy for all departments to follow relative to this. Previous councils have indicated there should not be any smoking in any of the buildings. Of course, as Ms. Newby said, that's now state law. But then for each of the vehicles and everything, it was left with each department to make a determination what it wanted to do, primarily based on what the feedback was from the majority of those employees in the department. And as we continue to grow and progress, and particularly, I think as we're getting younger employees coming in that have a tendency to be a little more strident relative to what their views are and everything, I think it'd be beneficial for an actual policy to be established by council of what it's going to do.
Can we also look at they handle the smoking in vehicles?
Yes, ma'am.
And if they have a designated smoking area away from the building? I would just be curious as to how that's been handled.
I would, if we do that, I think it needs to be on campus, so to speak, because I can remember lunchroom workers at Perry High School. They would, when they would take a break, they would go off campus on the shoulder of the road, and it just looks bad to me. So that's just something else to think about. I can't solve your problem tonight. Sorry.
Mr. Gilmore, can we ask the administration to come back with a recommendation as to what you guys would think about where those locations are based upon what other communities are doing?
Yes, we'll do our usual survey of our other comparable cities in our group, see what that response we get back, and then provide a series of options from that for you to take a look at, besides if you want to do anything. If you do, what is it you want?
The council members, are you agreeable to that? Thank you, Mr. Gilmore, we appreciate it, we'll look forward to your response. Thank you, Mr. Reed. Item 4 is council member items. Now that we've got everybody jumbled up, Ms. Bonnie Gray, nothing? Dr. Albright? Mayor Pro Tem Jones? Ms. Peters? Reverend King? Thank you. Mr. Gilmore?
Nothing.
Anything for us this evening?
No, sir.
Mr. Smith, welcome back. Anything for us?
No, sir.
Ms. Newby?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Before we move forward, Ms. David, do you have anything for us this evening? No, you're just visiting with us, I thought.
She's a week early.
Huh? Okay, I just want to make sure that before we move forward, if you have any comments. Item 5 is department head items. Ms. King?
Nothing, sir.
Ms. Warren, anything for us this evening?
No, sir.
Mr. Wood?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Captain, anything for us this evening?
All is good.
Chief Parkman?
Nothing tonight, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Swan's gone. Ms. Fitzner? Okay. Ms. Clark is back there somewhere behind all of that equipment. Is there anything additional that you have?
No, sir.
Ms. Wharton, anything additional this evening? Ms. Harden, anything?
I just
please?
want one item.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For those of you that may have not seen the news last week or were out of town or not aware, but NLW Hospitality did sign a lease with the Georgia National Fairgrounds Board to get a new hotel constructed at the fairgrounds at the Millen Murphy Howard Building. So this was the hotel project that you all approved incentives for last May. So it took over 2 years with our work, and Stephen Shimp said he worked 3 years on it. They thoroughly enjoyed their visit to Perry last week and lunch with you, Mr. Mayor, and the board, and they're excited about their partnership with the fairgrounds and their investment in the city of Perry. So we'll be seeing more of them in the next several months as they come back in town more often.
We're looking forward to that, really. I think they said they needed 10 months worth of design and 18 months worth of construction, so we're probably 2.5 years out. But
That's correct. That's correct, but it's happening, so the
very
ball is
exciting.
now moving forward.
It's
So.
got to start somewhere. We're glad that they're starting to do that, so. Thank you for all your personal effort on that. Steve Shimp did acknowledge that, but I want to say thank you very much for what you did. I don't think that hotel would be there without your involvement, because you did bring them the client that actually ended up signing the contract with them. So thank you for all of your hard work on that.
Thank you.
We also have the mayor of Sugar Hill with us this evening, Mr. Edwards. Glad to have you here. in one of your multiple hats, being the regional manager for waste management. Any comments for us this evening?
It's good to be back in Perry, and I'm staying at a hotel in Perry. I'm going to eat dinner in Perry as much as I can. So it's good to be back. Good to see y'all.
Well, thank you for being here with us. Very good friend of the city of Perry. Did I get everybody with all the new arrangement here? I think I did. Okay. Our next meeting of the city council will be tomorrow night at 5 o'clock with our pre-council meeting, followed by our normal regular council meeting at 6 o'clock. All of our meetings are open to the public, and we encourage your interest and participation in those meetings. If there's nothing else to come before us, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. We stand adjourned until 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Thank you.